It is now the appointed hour, and introduce ourselves. I am Charlie Gray.
David Boucher.
Diane Tiago.
Melanie Mannheim.
Layla Johnston.
Cindy McNaught.
Very good. Before we get started with the business of the meeting, official business, I'd like to welcome and congratulate the reappointment of Diane Tiago and David Boucher as trustees. They were appointed after our last meeting, and they will both be serving an additional 3-year term, and for that, we as trustees and the town are grateful. Thank you very much for agreeing to serve.
Thank you.
In addition, we have Melanie Mannheim, who is attending her first meeting, and she has been appointed. Thank you, Melanie, for volunteering
Thank you.
to fill the unexpired term of our immediate past chair, Art McGuire. And Melanie, for those of you who haven't had a chance to meet her yet, and there are very few people in town who haven't met her, she's been very active in the Friends group, and I can testify.
Which we're grateful for.
I can testify for which we are grateful. Thank you, Cindy.
You're welcome.
I can testify to that, certainly. I believe 2 or 3 years ago, Melanie and I went down to a meeting, joint meeting of the Massachusetts Board of Library Trustees and the Massachusetts Friends Association down in Worcester. And we had a wonderful day down there, and Melanie had a good time, as I recall. And I would just say to you, Melanie, I've been to a number of meetings since then, and every time I go, the people in attendance say, "Where's Melanie? Why didn't she come back?"
She's here.
So you'll have a chance to return to the scene of the crime.
Fantastic. Looking forward to it.
We're very pleased that you're joining us, and thank you very much for agreeing to serve.
Thank you. You're welcome.
The other item before we get started, I would like to, if it's all right with you folks, I would like to reorder our agenda slightly, and I'd like to move item 5A up from new business, the reorganization, up to the first order of business, if it's all right, with everyone. And is that okay? Do we
Yes,
have a
yes.
consensus with that?
That is a good idea.
Because this is the first meeting under our new organization. I think it's appropriate that we conduct the reorganization immediately, and therefore I would open the floor to nominations, first and foremost, for the chair of our group. David?
I'd like to nominate Charles Gray for chairman.
Well, thank you very much.
I'll second that.
Diane Tiago seconds. That's nice. Thank you. Are there any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate Diane Tiago for clerk.
Well, let's
No,
do the, we'll vote on one at
Oh,
a
all
time.
right, but that's what I wanted.
That's not inappropriate.
Okay.
Just hold that thought.
I will.
And nominations, any other nominations? Seeing none, nominations are closed. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Appreciate the confidence. The next order of business is David Boucher.
Okay.
And I would recognize Diane Tiago.
I'd like to nominate David for our vice chairperson.
Okay, thank you.
And I will
Good.
second that.
Melanie Mannheim seconds. That's very good. Are there any other nominations? Okay, seeing none, nominations are closed, and let's have a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, David.
Way to go, David.
The third
Now.
The third office we should
Oh, no.
fill in our reorganization is that of secretary. Cindy?
Yes,
do
I
you have a
would really
suggestion?
like to nominate Diane Tiago for secretary.
Well, that's a nice thought. Diane Tiago, do we have a second?
I'd like to second it.
David seconds, that's good. All right, any other nominations? Seeing none, nominations are closed. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Therefore, we are reorganized, and I would ask Lila that you send appropriate notification to, you can send an email or a memo or whatever you feel appropriate, to the town manager, town clerk, and a courtesy copy to the town council of our new reorganization.
I certainly will.
Would you do that?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That being done, we can now move on to item number 2 on our agenda, the meeting minutes. And I believe they were distributed earlier, and I also believe that Layla has given us another copy. I don't believe there's any changes to that copy that you gave us tonight. Layla? I assume
No
not?
changes.
Okay. I thought they were pretty good. I thought they were excellent, actually.
Yeah.
Thank you, Diane. There was one thing that I should note, however, in the minutes, only because they're in the minutes. I had inadvertently characterized this bar graph improperly as being a straight budget comparison summary, and this was the chart I had remembered, and it was really the circulation statistics chart. And we have not seen this chart in about a year or so, and Layla has, in our current packet, recreated it for us. But this is the chart that I was remembering. This is the chart that I think is helpful to us, and it is in our packet and in our handout. So I apologize for my own confusion. It's fine as is, and I think the year-over-year, month-by-month comparisons that Diane mentioned, I think we're still going to be able to see, Layla, and that's the information that I think is helpful. So, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And
Thank you.
I tried to get in early. The first thing in the morning, as you remember, I was here.
You did.
So, that's the only thing in the minutes that I wanted to comment on. I don't believe it needs any change, except make a note that I had mischaracterized it as budget rather than circulation comparison. So, that's fine. No problem. Does anyone else have any other thoughts about the minutes as submitted? We have a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes from May 17th, 2017.
All right.
I'd like to second that.
Made and seconded. Any other comments? Discussion? All in favor of accepting the minutes?
Aye.
Aye. Done. Moving right along, our next item, there are no guests present. This is an opportunity for any guests, anyone who would like to join us, to sit in or come and talk to us. This is a good opportunity for them to do so. No one's here tonight. Middle of summer, hot muggy day with rain. Not unsurprising, nobody's here. So we'll move on to agenda item 4, which is the director's report. And I'll turn it over to you,
All
Layla.
right, thank you. Speaking of hot and muggy, late in June, the compressor failed that controls tech services, my office, and the circulation staff workroom, but DPW came to our rescue. They replaced the compressor, and they're moving ahead with a new consolidation of all the HVAC functions for the building to being centralized and automated so that Bruce or whoever is in charge at that time can adjust things from their office. CTC is almost done with that work. We're pretty excited about it because we've already noticed some improvements in the cooling of this building, which can be difficult because of the open layout. Partitions.
Excuse me, what
Yeah.
does CDC stand for?
I'm not sure. I just
Something.
know them as CTC, Centralized Technology Services, or
Something like
something
that.
like that, yeah.
They're
I can find out for
they're
you.
They're part of DPW, is that right?
They're contracted.
Or they're a contract for DPW?
Yeah.
Gotcha, okay, that's
Yep.
fine, thank you.
And also another exciting building improvement, the partitions in the women's restroom on the first floor are going to be replaced. DPW came and measured all of the partitions and put in their order, and that should be done by the end of summer. Strategic plan, we have until July 19th to continue to collect survey responses for our strategic plan. Paper copies are available at all library service desks, and I have bookmarks which I hope some of you will take with you to hand out to your friends and family. It has a direct link to the survey right on the back. So it's right there. People can also, if they want to scan the QR code right on the front with their smartphone, it'll take them right to the survey. The final meeting of the Strategic Plan Steering Committee will be held at the library on Friday, July 28th at 9:30 a.m. And as of July 10th, we have just over 300 responses, which I'm thrilled about because that gives us a meaningful statistical sample for the purposes of drafting the plan. I plan to have a draft of the plan ready for review by the Board of Library Trustees in late August. The plan will need to be finalized for a vote by the September board meeting. And so I did put later on the agenda 2 tentative dates. It wouldn't have to be a full board meeting late in August. We could designate representatives to come to just review the draft, make any suggestions to me for change before we present it for a vote. We are on a tight deadline though because I have to postmark the plan by October 1st. So that's why I included those tentative dates later in the agenda. Public services, IT will replace all of our public computing thin clients with desktops starting tomorrow, July 13th. We hope this will improve network speed and reduce printing problems with the public computers. And Charles Gray, as he noted, requested a circulation statistics comparison chart, and I created that. It does include overdrive statistics. I did not yet include Zinio, the digital magazines, because I feel like we need more time before we can start adding that in for comparison purposes. Programming and outreach, summer reading kickoff held outdoors. I saw you and your grandkids there. It was great fun.
It was superb.
It was.
They had a blast.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. We estimate, based on the number of paper plates distributed, 425 people came to enjoy pizza, live music, and create Operation Gratitude care packages. And, of course, to sign up for this year's summer reading program. And I would like to thank the library staff for their hard work putting together another successful kickoff. And thank you again to the town for giving us permission to hold it in the parking lot. People were very excited. It really garnered a lot of attention. You could spread out and really enjoy the music. It was wonderful. One book for all with Eric Lesser. Event was held on June 28th. That was also very well attended. We estimate 75 to 80 people attended the launch. Multiple news stations covered. LCAT was here, Mass Live, and 22 News were all here with cameras to film the event. We had so many people sign up, we actually ran out of the adult copy of the book and had to order some more. So we're hoping this is a start to something we can continue annually. Lindsay Neffinger, also speaking of new programs, held a trial memory cafe for 6 residents from the reserve on June 22nd.
Could I ask you about, what's her position title?
Lindsay is the adult services librarian. You probably know her as Lindsay Johnson, but she did get married a few months ago and is slowly phasing in her new name.
We only hire people named Johnston or Johnson.
Right.
I'll let her know she's gonna have to switch back. But yeah, she was married 3 or 4 months ago, and is just slowly
Oh, that's good.
changing over her name to.
She's a good person.
Yes.
And she's doing terrific with the seniors, I know that. And what is the reserve? You could maybe
The reserve is
give a little
an
bit
assisted
more.
living and senior care facility.
Is it
You
here-
know what, it's
here in
across
East
from
Long Meadow?
Bluebird Estates. You come by it, Cheryl.
So the Memory Cafe, it's a new program for libraries where Lindsay was very excited to try it out. It brings together dementia or Alzheimer's individuals along with their caregivers in a social setting as opposed to just a clinical setting, and it gives them a chance to interact with one another, still have access to library services in a very relaxed and informal setting. They had 6 people come. They were very excited about it. We're going to try one here at the library in September. We're also going to have one at the Council on Aging. And summer reading is in full swing. We have 112 student volunteers assisting in the children's department this year. Thank you to the Friends for their ongoing support of our summer reading programs. The outdoor games collection donated by the Friends is circulating well. We also used the outdoor games at the summer reading kickoff.
Very good.
So that worked great. Tony Ruskowski of the Friends and I were interviewed by LCAT on June 21st to promote the Friends reinstatement of the literacy walk, Bricks fundraiser. Bricks cost $75 and can be ordered through the Friends. And last, professional development. I attended workshops on ARIS, which is our public library statistics report, and state aid to public library reporting requirements. So I'm working on that currently. And I was elected to serve a 3-year term on CWMAR's Executive Council. So,
Congratulations.
yeah, excited.
I had a couple of questions. Thank you, Lila. It's a very comprehensive report, which is terrific. Thank you for, I'm sure all of you have seen the circulation statistics, and this is a familiar report to those of us, although we haven't seen it in a year. It's nice to recapture that information that we haven't formally gotten. And, you know, we had a great March.
Yeah.
March was the highest, I guess it looks like it's tied for the highest in the whole year. So that's good, and recent months have been pretty good too, so that's good. But that's a wonderful report for looking at the trends, and once we get some of these computerized things, once we get them incorporated, and I would be in favor of doing it sooner rather than later, although I recognize what you're doing is waiting for something to stabilize, because that's where we're going forward, and to have the forward-looking comparisons is helpful.
Sure.
From a management perspective, if nothing else. And I know that you use it all the time. I'm not managing anything these days, but I like to look at it. The other thing I was going to ask you about, and you mentioned the summer reading kickoff, did the Friends help out on that at all?
Of course, yes. the
So
Friends,
we had
provided our-
425 people enjoy pizza. I assume the Friends had a piece of that action, didn't you? No?
I was not in town that day.
Okay. How about you, Diet?
We were unavailable.
What did
I was-
What did the Friends do in
The
conjunction?
Friends provided the pizza.
They did.
Yeah.
Ah, good.
Oh.
Live music, Operation Gratitude Care packages. That's a pretty big deal, and thank you to the Friends for that. The last thing I was going to ask about was your appointment, or election, I suppose, I should say, to serve a 3-year term on the CWMAR's Executive Council. Could you briefly explain why it's important to our library and to, oh, look who's here. Ginny Robbins, ladies and gentlemen, for your listening pleasure. Hi, Ginny. Thank you for coming.
Finally.
It's rain. Are you okay with the rain? I was afraid you might get involved with all those animals that are lining up out in front of the library.
Oh, as long as they're not snakes.
Good.
Yeah.
Good to see you. You'll be happy to know that our reorganization is complete, and we are now fully staffed. So you're all set.
Okay.
Chair, vice chair, and secretary.
Good.
So.
Congratulations. You think?
And we're now on the fourth item of business, but the director's report. I was just going to comment on the CW appointment of Lila to a 3-year, or the election of Lila to a 3-year term on the CWMR's Executive Council. Could you, Lila, explain why it's important to, why CWMRs is important to our library and to our patrons here in
Sure.
East Long Meadow?
CWMARS is our, provides our resource sharing system, which includes our online catalog, an integrated library system, and also is our governing body for libraries in this region. And what that means is that if I'm on the executive council, I will meet with other library directors once a month, and we will discuss any changes that might need to happen with the catalog to improve services, any changes in policies that we might want to look into. Just as an example, right now, privacy is really in the news a lot, particularly with data breaches, data leaks, and of course with our library catalog, everything is online. Libraries have not been hit. Libraries have been, so far in this region, have not yet seen any of the ransomware attacks, for example, that you've seen in the news. There was a library system in Missouri that had all of their catalog data compromised. And so what that means is that privacy norms are being breached. So that's just one example of the stuff that I'll work on as part of that group. It's a 3-year term. I hope to learn a lot because I'll also be able to get the opinion and expertise of other people who have been directors for years and years. And I'll be able to help be a voice for a library of East Long Meadow size. We're not the biggest library, but we're still a very important library to our community. And so CW Mars is very good about making sure that we have Springfield is the biggest in this area, all the way down to maybe Hamden or one of the other smaller libraries.
It's true, I think, Lila, correct me if I'm wrong, that we hold our own as far as circulation
We do.
with Springfield. That being said, CW Mars is really the fundamental, it's really, in this computer age, the fundamental vehicle by which we manage not only our catalog, but access to catalogs of all members, all CW Mars members throughout the state of Massachusetts. And we subscribe to it through our budget. And I'm going to give a number, but you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's in the vicinity of $25,000.
It's a little higher now.
Last time I looked, it's a little higher than that, but that's how CW Mars comes into play. It's supported by budget dollars.
Yep.
And we, frankly, we don't see really these days in the environment that we're operating on how we can operate or how we could operate without the benefit of CW Mars. For as much as it costs, and it's not cheap, the benefits to our library and to our town are tremendously valuable. And to have you in a position where you can influence the policies and help us with our use of CW Mars in the future, I think is a tremendous thing. And congratulations on your
you.
election, and
Congratulations.
bring us back some good stuff, will you?
And in fact, I can bring to the next meeting, there is a kind of a cost-benefit analysis that's put out every year by CW Mars, showing the return on investment. So I think I'll bring
That's
that
a-
for
that's a
everybody.
good-
We might find that
I've
interesting.
seen a report like that in the past, and it's a very, very telling report. It's an
I
excellent
will do
report.
that for the next meeting for sure.
And keep that in mind the next time you go under the budget gun with those rascals in town hall. Does anyone else have any comments?
Well, I had one thing
Sure.
about the director's report. It said you did a public service broadcast about the bricks,
Yes.
the memory bricks. I wondered if you've had any response to them.
Tony, I know, has installed 5 bricks
Oh, nice.
since the program was reinstated, so that's been a
that's
great
nice.
response.
Okay.
And there's one other item that I'd like to see some type of reactivation, and I think it might be something we need to go back and do some research on, but also the giving wall. And that was, yeah, the giving wall. And that's something that I think has, people walk by it and don't even realize
As
that
if
it's
it's done.
yeah.
And
And
it's
what
not-
happens?
it's an ongoing
It's an
thing.
ongoing, yes, it's
Yeah,
ongoing.
good point, Diane.
Yeah. So if you would mind researching that, and I think there was a financial or a monetary dollar amount that went with having a name placed on the wall.
There's different levels.
Yeah, so I just want to double check on that one if you wouldn't mind.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else have any comments, thoughts, anything additional? The
Good
one,
report, by the way.
the
Oh,
one,
thank you.
one thing that I was looking forward to, and we can probably cover it at our next meeting, is are there plans afoot for any kind of a fall special or back-to-school special yet for the library, either for the library as a whole or for the children's department?
I'm sure they probably do have something in the works,
Okay.
but I can look into that for the next meeting
That'd be
for
great.
sure.
That'd be great.
Definitely.
I know sometimes they've done that in the past, and I know that it starts to get the children's attention, and it's
Usually they're kindergarten
Mhm.
orientation.
What's that, Cindy?
They usually do a kindergarten orientation.
Kindergarten, okay.
And they may be planning some school visits in the
School
fall, too.
visits, okay. Well, that's good to know, and we'll hear about it in our next
Sure.
meeting.
And then they'll start winding up the story hours too, I'm sure.
Mhm.
I'd like to entertain a motion to accept the narrative written director's report as submitted.
I'll make a motion to accept the director's report of July 12th, 2017.
Like to second it?
Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Accepted. Financial reports for information purposes.
Yep, so your financial
Lila?
reports are gonna look a little bit different this time. We're still accounting because it is end of our fiscal year, start of the new fiscal year. Accounting is in the process of updating the Munis, which is the software where we do obtain these reports. I did, however, include for everyone to be aware that the library's operating budget at town council was approved at an increased amount. And that's down here, way down at the bottom, under culture and recreation, we're the first line item. And that's, in part due to, we will no longer have the fines revolving fund that has been rolled back into the general fund. It has been, reappropriated to us, however, we meet our state aid requirements. If anybody has any questions about that, they can just let me know. But this represents a significant increase for the library, and we're very grateful to the town manager for that.
That's very nice.
Yeah. So what we do have, are the one that's titled 2511 Library Equalization, that's our state aid grant money, through which our CW Mars membership in part is paid with. You can see the balance down here in the right-hand corner where it says available budget is right on track for where we would expect to be. And the same with our other copier fund. So if anybody has any questions about that, they can feel free to call me or ask me. Again, we're still going through end-of-year reconciliation for all the town departments, but the library is in very good shape.
Thank you, Lila. Anyone have any comments or questions about the Munis report? We do not have to approve this. This is informational at this point. Okay. New business. The 5A has been taken care of with the reorganization. And I'll turn it back to you, Lila, with the Board of Library Trustees bylaw review. And I know, Diane, I recognize your fingerprints all over this thing.
Yeah, a lot of Diane fingerprints.
So I'll turn it over to you, Lila, and maybe I noticed that you expect that we'll be able to spend a little bit of time on this, but if you want to set it up, that's good.
Sure. Town bylaws are also currently being rewritten to reflect the change in government. So basically, it looks like what we need to do are change some of the bylaws. For example, under section 1, number and qualifications, the governing body of the library is composed of 6 members elected by the registered voters of East Long Meadow. That's no longer accurate. You're now appointed by the town manager. So this would be just the start of probably several months of looking at both the procedure and the way it's written. So that was just my first example there of should probably be changed to say the governing body of the library is composed of 6 members appointed.
Let me interrupt if I
Yeah.
may. I understood your original intent was that you would distribute this tonight, give everyone an opportunity to read it over, and
Yes.
perhaps at a future meeting, we could work on the wordsmithing and the modification of the words. Is that fair, rather than wade in tonight?
Yeah, that's
So
exactly
let me
what I was
ask,
thinking.
Charlie,
Yes,
pardon
certainly.
me,
Sure.
Mr. Chair, would you like, almost like a little subcommittee?
Well-
And then bring forward
Uh,
what we come up with, and then bring it to the meeting, so that
We,
we're not.
we could certainly
would
do
save
that,
time.
if that's the sense of what we want to do, that's fine with me, and I think as secretary, you'd be a perfect person to head that up, and I would certainly welcome that, although, to be honest, as I looked at these, two things came to mind. First of all, the original version that we got from June of 2005, and then the updated version, the revision that we got from June from August of 2015. I did not see any substantive or material changes to the text.
That's correct.
So, as I read it over, I also, other than some of the wordsmithing that I think has to be done to make it parallel with the current town organization, that is to say, we have a town council and we have a town manager. The town manager is appointing all committees now, and some of our specific management functions, all of our historic management functions have gone away. Those things are fairly compartmentalized in our bylaws. So I don't think the actual revision will be hard.
No, I don't think.
If you'd like to chair that committee and bring in whoever you want
Yeah,
to help,
yeah.
I would certainly endorse that, and I'll let you choose who you'd like to talk with, and maybe if you could do a line over line thing as your recommendations, that would make it easy.
All right.
If you'd like my comments, I've done them. So that's why I say it's not, it didn't seem hard to me, okay?
Yeah, just send them to, you can send your thoughts with regards to the wording to my email address, and I'll be more than happy to.
Let's do it. And the target will be for presentation, if that's all right with you, Lila, for next meeting?
Do we want to push it, because next meeting we'll have the strategic plan?
That's okay
So
with
maybe
me.
for
I
October.
don't think, let's see what Diane comes up with. If there's nothing contentious, and there won't be, it's really very straightforward.
Okay.
Then I think we can approve it if we have the text in front of us ahead of
Sure.
time.
Right.
Okay.
I think that'll be a fairly easy approval. I don't think there'll be a lot of extraneous, a lot of gnashing of teeth,
Would you like
wringing
on
of hands.
the August meeting or the September?
August meeting.
Okay.
And I agree, we probably should try to have an August meeting, although it may be difficult with vacations, we'll try. We'll see when we get to that point on your agenda.
Yeah.
So, if that's all right, Diane, you're okay with that?
That's fine.
That sounds
Yeah,
good,
the letters
okay.
are fine.
Did you have anything else, Lila?
No, sir.
Does the town manager have any deadline for you on this?
No, they're going through the process themselves.
I understood that too, so that's good.
Okay.
So we're gonna be ahead of the game.
Yes, we will.
Okay, old business is item 6. Does anyone have any old business?
I don't have an old business per se, but there's an item that was brought up that I don't wanna forget.
Okay,
So that maybe it's just an item that we keep until we see it come to its conclusion. And that was that social media policy that you brought to us at one point in time. And I know we will have to do more work on it. I just don't want it forgotten, that's all.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
that is something we should talk about.
Okay.
The
I
fi-
always
if-
worry that we,
If-
that we,
if
and then
not,
it gets lost.
If not, since we do have to go through the strategic plan fairly carefully in August, maybe we could agree to look at it in September.
Oh, yes, yes, I
But
just,
thank you for keeping.
I just wanna, it can
Just so we
stay
know
there,
about it.
and it can be
you-
tabled, and tabled.
Are you? You're not going to lose your notebook, are you?
Oh.
Your binder. Thank you,
I'll do
Diane.
my best not to.
Thank you. That's great, and that's exactly the kind of thing that we need to keep thinking about under old businesses. Are there any other old business items that we should think about? Lila, this is an old business. I was just wondering, though, we're up here, and as I looked over and saw Ginny, I know Ginny's been involved. We're in the local history room up on the second floor, which is climate controlled. On a night like this, it's great to have a true climate controlled room. It's good for the books and for the valuable historic documents too, like me, for example. Is there any reason why why the trustees meeting room isn't available tonight?
Yes, the Conservation Commission had already reserved the room because we rescheduled from June, and so the room was held by the
Thank you.
Conservation Commission in the meantime.
Thank you. That's fine.
If you snooze, you lose.
They sometimes have public hearings,
Yes.
and it's a lot easier for people to get into that room as from an access egress point of view
Yeah.
when there's a public hearing held than it is for them to come up here. It's better for us to be up here, frankly, better for the collection, better for everybody. So I just wanted to make sure that I understood that. Thank you. And they're always welcome. We love having the Conservation Commission people here. And most of them come here as civilians too, by the way. Okay, anything else under old business? Anybody have anything else comes to mind? Cindy, you have nothing at this point?
I am just old, I don't have any business.
No, you're not that old. I'm still waiting for your another hole in one from you,
Oh, me
but
too.
hope springs eternal.
Yes, it does.
Okay, item 7, other business, Library Friends news, and since Melanie, you have been very, very active in the Friends.
And help.
It's good to have you here, and you may have something you might want to contribute. Although Diane has been very diligent in bringing us up to date periodically on the special items that we should be interested in with regards to the Friends.
Okay, well, a
If
few
you have
things,
anything, fire away.
come to mind at our last and final meeting of this year, which happened in June. We discussed our next calendar year, starting in September, for the Friends. So a few things that I do want to make note is that the Mobile Mini Golf will be our second annual coming up this following year in 2018. I believe it's going to happen in March or April. I forget the exact date. So that's going to be going on. And also, from what I've gathered, information from both the library staff and also just people, library patrons, that the summer outdoor collection has been going well with people checking out the croquet sets and the badminton sets and the tennis rackets. So hopefully that will be something that the library continues every year and on a monthly basis, and we'll see how well that does. So hopefully it'll always bring the library to that next level to try different things, which is important for our community.
Oh, that's great. That's terrific. And just convey back to our friends and the Friends that how much we appreciate their continued support.
Thank you.
And if there's anything we can do from our perspective, let us know.
Okay.
And the support of the reading programs, the three of them have been just outstanding and have brought us to a high level
Yeah,
throughout the state.
it's fantastic.
our reading
And the staff
program
does a
It's
great job.
second to none, really.
Yeah, it's very good.
And you
That's-
can't do that without the support of the community and the funding from the Friends. It would be impossible.
It's very, very valuable to the library. One of my favorite things to talk about, I think about, is the Friends used bookstore, used book sale, or the book sale that is still ongoing off to the right-hand side as you walk into our central lobby. And I was in there the other day, and the collection is terrific. I mean,
It is.
you can get first-rate books on most everything, and the paperback books, the books that we used to characterize as beach reading.
Right, right.
I mean, there are yards and yards of paperback books that are in perfect condition, and the price is right. Come in and, as I've said before, come in and pick up a couple, bring them to the beach or wherever you're going on vacation, or even if you're staying home alone on vacation. Read them and then come back in and redonate them to the library, and you'll be getting a double duty for your dollars. But there's wonderful selection this year, and as always, it's great. And the space that you're dedicating, Lila, to that enterprise, on behalf of the Friends, on behalf of the library, is really, I think, worthwhile. So that's great. Anything else, Diane, from the Friends? Good to have a partner in crime, isn't it? Huh?
Yes. Absolutely. Just the last meeting in June was just an annual potluck that they do every year. You
Yeah.
joined us, and spouses, friends, and so forth came, and it was a wonderful evening right before the final meeting. It's a
terrific.
little social that we have every year, and so it was a good evening. And like Melanie said, we went on to a meeting where basically it was just, what are we going to do next year? We're going to continue with the basket raffles, or when are we going to do this and when are we going to do that? So
Wonderful.
that was mostly it, setting up an agenda for the next year.
Thank you.
You're
Thanks. Keep us posted and let us know if we can help. Last item, not second to last item, is the next meeting scheduled, tentatively scheduled for August 23rd, Wednesday, August 23rd. I would just volunteer that it looks fine from my perspective. It's good to have an early date if we can do it. Fine. If there are major conflicts,
I think I might be on vacation that week.
There's always one in a crowd.
we just
I know.
our quorum is we have 6 members. Our quorum is 4 out of 6. It's my brother's birthday, but I'm going to stiff him. No.
We might be back by then.
Oh, good. All right. So the 23rd of Wednesday, the 23rd of August, at 6 p.m. here in the library. Book it. Okay with you, Alcat? That's good. I like that. Get it on the calendar and make appropriate notification, and everything will be copacetic. Is there anything else to come before this meeting?
No.
Seeing nothing else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.